So the past few days, I've been letting these sourdough boules, B-O-U-L-L-E. I don't really know how to pronounce it particularly. Maybe I'll Google it later. So they've been resting so far at this point 36 hours, maybe a little bit more. So this is past all the hard work of making sourdough, and this is now getting to the rewarding part where I'm going to transfer this onto a dish. And then from there it's going to go into my Dutch oven, which I'm about to pull out right now. So I've had the oven preheating for probably 45 minutes now, and preheat the oven to 475. Once it's up there, 475, oh, by the way, heat your Dutch oven, preheat it in there. Anyways, once it gets to 475, bring it down to 450, and that's going to be our actual baking temp. Now I'm going to let this Dutch oven cool off just a smidge. Not completely, but I don't want it actually at 475. I'm really kind of pushing it because if it gets too hot, the enamel around this could actually split. So I don't want that to happen. So anyways, this towel is lined with flour, which is going to hopefully come off, make the dough come off quite easy. But on the bottom side, I'm going to put a little bit of medium ground cornmeal. And what that's going to do is it's going to lift the dough off a bit from the bottom of the Dutch oven and keep it from burning. At least that's the intent behind it. Alright, so I've also got a piece of parchment paper that I'm just keep out of squares so it's big enough to go over and kind of wrap my dough. But you don't need a huge sheet. You can probably cut a piece in half and not be wasteful. And then this is just, nice little plate. It's going to go on. It's going to live here for a few minutes. Alright, so it's just as easy as flipping, right? The trying part is actually getting this off the dough. If you don't powder it good, it'll stick, and if you powder it a whole lot, you'll have a ton of dough on top. Although honestly, having a lot of powder is probably better than sticking and ripping dough that you've been so carefully letting rest for 36 hours at this point. We got a little bit of grab there, but this is really ultimately coming off really well. Now this towel is actually just a linen napkin, so it's pretty thin, allows a lot of air to move through it, but there you go. So it didn't come off too bad. Set that aside in the sink, and that you just run cold water and wash it with your hands. If you put it in your washer with hot water, you'll probably end up just cooking the dough to it and lose the towel. So this is pretty much it. I'm going to let this sit here for a couple minutes, and then we'll put it in this Dutch oven, which, man, I can still see the heat waves coming off of it. It's hot. But this is pretty much ready to go. There's just going to be one more addition here. We're going to cut a couple lashes into this, give it a fancy look. I'm going straight down, no angle, just directly straight down into it. I'm going to cut a hashtag, and you don't have to go deep, 1/4 of an inch, no more. And the dough's going to split a little bit. I'm just using a straight blade. You could use a sharp knife. There's actually instruments that I don't know the name of that are specifically for just slashing your loaves. Alright, so from here we're going in the Dutch oven. Boom. Hear a little sizzle when it hit, but that's okay. Putting the lid on, make sure the lid is on good and tight, because that's going to trap all the moisture that the dough is going to release. And this allows us to be able to bake without having to put water in the oven. And we don't have fancy baker's ovens. Alright, so I just transferred that over to the oven. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes. After that 25 minutes is up, I'm going to uncover and continue to cook for another 25 to 30 and basically just go off of how dark the crust looks. And when you tap the loaf, it'll give back a hollow kind of sound, and that means it's cooked. Alright, so it's been 25 minutes that this sourdough's been in here at 450. So now I'm gonna uncover it. Ooh, watch it get back. Lots of heat coming out. I'm gonna uncover it. That looks really nice. And I'm gonna let it go for another 30 minutes. Now, the reason that I left the lid in there is because the recipes of sourdough that I make, they either create 2 or 3 boules, whatever they're called. And so I want to keep that lid hot because as soon as this one comes out in 30 minutes, the next one's gonna go. All right, hey, what's up, gang? I just wanted to take a second to talk about how these loaves brown and how fast it happens. Halfway through the bake, you might see that it's gotten a very golden brown crust already, to which you would think is probably done, but it's not. I'm telling you, it's way too early. So if you see 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 14 minutes left on that timer, and you think it's just great golden brown, and you're worried about burning that bread, don't worry about baking it. You're definitely baking it. If you're worried about burning that bread, you're not. You can relax and just let it go, right? I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are at 11 minutes in. And that's a very nice golden brown bake right there. But you know what? It's not done. Not even close. And we're going to let it go longer. Don't worry about it. You're not burning your loaf. Alright, so the bread timer just went off, though. It's done. Let's see what we got, okay? Yeah, this looks fantastic. So this is my bake, right? That looks pretty daggone dope. Let's get this bad boy out of here. And we're gonna put this Dutch oven back in the oven and just keep it warm at 450 until it's time to put in the next dough, which is pretty much sitting here on the counter with me. That's ready. But this loaf looks great. I just can't tell you guys how important it is to not worry about burning it and leaving it in there. We're gonna move this parchment off. Show you what that cornmeal did for my bottom. Hey, it's kind of got its own layer on there, and it kept it from blackening too much. And this is, I mean, you hear that? That sounds hollow, and that's what you want. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it. I've got 2 more to do. I don't really think there's going to be anything more to show y'all. I appreciate anybody who watched this. I hope it helped maybe even one person go, oh, I'm not burning it. Or, oh, that's how you bake it. Or, holy shit, bread in a Dutch oven. So, yeah, on the fly with Brian Pye. Until next time.